Live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
It would be a complete and total act of irresponsibility for the president just to order a few strikes, but there's no government, there's no backup, there's no military, there's nothing there that provides the capacity for success. So what we are doing is a deliberate, careful, thoughtful approach, listening to the people here, listening to the allies, listening to the partner countries in the region, and putting together something that can work.
All right. That was John Kerry the other day. Joining us now to talk about all of this mess is our friend Ralph Peters, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, Fox News strategist. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. Always great to speak with you.
I love talking to you. You tell it like it is, and you know exactly, of course, what you're talking about. All right. So is Iraq gone? I mean, is it lost?
Yes. Iraq is over. Finished. Done. I don't know what else you can say. Steve, this situation is just stunning to me. John Kerry and our State Department, our pathetic, destructive State Department, is more obsessed with protecting Iraq's borders and maintaining Iraqi territorial integrity than they are with defending Americans and protecting Americans. I mean, this is just preposterous. Iraq is over. It was actually over in 2003, and you may recall that a weird range of people, Joe Biden, Ambassador Peter Galbraith, myself, and a few others, said, look, this country doesn't work. It's artificial. The borders are drawn by dead Europeans. Break it up now while you have the chance. Instead, because our State Department is phobic about the idea of ever changing any border anywhere. In the view of our State Department, every line on the map today that represents a national border has existed since the Paleolithic era. And obviously it's not true. Borders change all the time. And we have given a lot of blood trying to preserve these phony borders drawn not just in Iraq by dead Europeans. Well, right now, there is a real American interest in Iraq. It is not in preserving the fiction of an integral Iraq and its pre-war borders. It is not in protecting the pro-Iranian, anti-American al-Maliki Shia government in Baghdad. Our interest is in pounding, crushing, killing, defeating Islamist terrorists wherever we can find them. And in Syria, before this, we saw the largest concentrations in the open of al-Qaeda and al-Qaeda-spawned terrorists ever, and Obama did nothing. They were just there waiting to be struck. He did nothing. Now, despite the fact that the White House, I can tell you from inside intelligence sources, the White House has warned and warned and warned and warned about the threat from ISIS, these son of al-Qaeda terrorists. They did nothing. Now you see they're seizing western Iraq, moving on Baghdad. And this is not going to be solved by negotiations. The hatreds are deep. It is a religious war between Sunni and Shia. There's no question about it. It's not about diplomatic niceties. It's not about policy differences. It is a religious civil war. It is brutal. It is going to get more brutal. We don't need to be in the middle of that by any means, but it is not in our interest to let ISIS, these Islamist terrorists, the deformed offspring of al-Qaeda, establish a caliphate state, a terrorist state in eastern Syria and western and central Iraq. We can't, if Obama allows the world's first pure terrorist state to emerge on his watch, my God, if that's not grounds for impeachment, I don't know what is. I mean, this is a real threat to the United States, far worse than Afghanistan was when it was hosting al-Qaeda. And Obama always wants to do the least. He doesn't want to be caught with any, with any responsibility. So he has sent 300 American hostages, currently known as military advisors, to Iraq. They're brave people, largely special operators. They're not going to turn the tide. They're not going to fix the Iraqi army. They could serve as forward observers for targeting, very, very dangerous work if we send in airstrikes. But I'm not concerned about preserving the Iraqi government and helping Iran by doing so. But I do think we should be taking this opportunity with airstrikes and eventually even other assets if necessary, but serious, determined airstrikes in eastern Syria, in Iraq, to smash this emerging caliphate before it takes deep roots. I mean, this is a direct threat to the United States.
Yeah, and it's certainly not being treated as such. Now, a story today in the New York Times, Ralph, that Iran is secretly, I guess it's not a secret, sending drones and supplies into Iraq. What's the role? What does Iran have to gain here if your scenario comes true?
Well, Iran has been behind the al-Maliki government from the start. Nouri al-Maliki, who John Kerry imagines could be made America's friend even now, is a tool of Iran. There's no question about it. That's where the power of the funding comes from. Iran is not only sending weapons into Iraq right now. It has advisors and special operators on the ground. Iraqi forces, Revolutionary Guards, Quds Force people have been on the ground for well over a week. And Iran is trying to make sure that the Shia, east of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the Shia portion of Iraq is not in any way subjugated or deeply harmed by these ISIS terrorists. Also, Iran would like to roll back the ISIS folks and take back the oil fields and the oil refineries because they're very, very important. Iran's long-term goal is to expand its own empire and control Iraq, as much of Iraq for as long as possible. And the majority of the population, the slight majority in Iraq, is Shia Arab. The Iranians are Shia Persians, but they identify as fellow Shia. So again, there is an American interest here. It is stopping the Sunni Islamist terrorists from creating a state.
Yeah.
There is, however, no American interest, none, in propping up the al-Maliki government. Let Iraq come apart. Stop trying to pretend. I mean, Steve, you and I have watched this for a quarter century. Even under the elder Bush, Jim Baker flew to the dying Soviet Union and tried to persuade it to stay together. We tried to persuade under Clinton Yugoslavia to stay together. The State Department's primary goal seems to be not to protect America and our interests,
Iraq,
but to protect Rand McNally in the maps.
Yeah, it is, boy, you spell it out so well. Ralph, always great to talk to you, sir. You don't paint a pretty picture, but we don't want a pretty picture. We want the real picture, and you just gave it to us. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Steve.
Ralph Peters, ladies and gentlemen, retired Lieutenant Colonel and Fox News strategist here on the Steve Malzberg Show. We also have reports of Syrian warplanes striking in western Iraq, killing at least 50 people. Just not good. And you heard Ralph's opinion of our State Department and our strategy. We're coming back. Don't go away.